Hello YouTube, it's been a while since my last video like this. In fact, since my last video period. Oopsies, turns out it takes a while to make a more involved video. Who would have guessed? Anyways, thank you everyone for the support on the last video like this, it means a lot. I do hope you'll also find this video useful, and there will be more videos like this in the future, hopefully, but breaking character for a second here. Big shoutouts to my mom who helped me with a lot of the information on this video, but without further ado, on to the video. Enjoy. How many times can I say video in the intro? Whatever. There's this sentiment that I used to have, and now that I'm coaching, that I've been encountering a lot. I've been playing for X amount of years. Why am I not good yet? It's an understandable sentiment. When we put time into something, we are expected to be rewarded for our efforts. You put 2 hours into the gym, you expect to get swole. You spend 2 hours baking a day, you get a loaf. You put 2 years into the TCG, you expect to be able to day 2 a majors. That's unfortunately not how it works. Let me put it this way. If you wanted to play in the NBA, you can't just play pickup basketball. Playing pickup basketball will help you improve at playing basketball, and you might even gain some of the skills needed to help you play in the NBA from pickup basketball, but you won't be able to play good in the NBA from just pickup basketball, unless you're a freak of nature and have just that much raw talent. So what makes the difference between the person that plays pickup basketball and the person playing in the NBA? TTTT. TTTT is the difference. Oh, you don't know what TTTT is? Oh, sorry. Time, tools, training, talent. The difference between the pros who get high placements in tournaments consistently and you, dear viewer, is these 4 things. It's one of those concepts that you probably had some initial understanding of, but doesn't become obvious until pointed out. Like, no duh, the person who spends 8 hours a day playing Pokemon is going to be way better than the person not spending 8 hours a day. But going back to the initial question, why am I not good after X amount of time? Time is not the only thing you need to commit in order to get good. It's much more important on how you spend it. Just playing 8 hours a day doesn't guarantee improvement in much the same way that playing 8 hours of pickup basketball a day doesn't. You need specific practice, practice tailored towards improving, rather than just pure grind. And like, sometimes it is pure grind that you need, but if you've been playing for a long time and still don't see improvement, that's unlikely to be the case for you. So, let's talk about TTTT. The way to think of TTTT is as 4 pillars upon which your skills stand. You don't need all 4 to be solid, you really just need 3 of the 4. Like, if you only have 30 minutes a day to dedicate towards the TCG, your pillar of time will be less solid. But if you use your other 3 pillars correctly, and those 30 minutes are as refined and honed as possible, you'll be better than those who play 6 hours a day, but don't use that time properly to improve. So let's break these down. The first T, time. The most self-explanatory. The more time you have to work on your skills, the more you can improve those skills. Simple, easy. Everyone understands this one. It's also the one that tricks the most people. The one that I've based the whole video around. I've been hammering home how time isn't the only thing that you need at this point, but it's much more important about how you dedicate that time. For example, if you record all of your games and then review the games where it felt like you could have won or maybe do something slightly different, then you'll be improving faster than the person who doesn't VOD review. This process of recording your games and watching them is VOD reviewing. There's a whole conversation to be had about how to effectively VOD review, but that's either something you'll learn if you become one of my students or going to be a video eventually. I don't know, we'll see. But let's move on to the second T, tools. This one gets a little abstract. The obvious part of it is that if you have access to a coach or a guide or something of that nature, you can obviously use those to your advantage. But the abstract part of it comes from the fact that it's referring to literally everything at your disposal. Things such as your cards, locals that you can access, players that you can face, even things like being able to record your own games and having stable internet to play on TCG Live all go into the tools category. Like, you can build a house with just nails, a hammer, and wood, but it's much easier to hire a construction company. And then, of course, it takes more time to build it yourself with just nails, a hammer, and wood. For example, a lot of improvements have happened in sports and competitions throughout the years because new techniques get developed, and better gear, and better coaching practices. I'll keep this brief because this is, and I'm saying this a lot this video, a topic for another time, but you shouldn't reinvent the wheel. Take the tools and knowledge that already exist and start applying it to yourself. This used to be a bigger problem in the Pokemon TCG because a lot of the information, such as what decks to play, how do you improve, were hard to come by. But this is being rectified with the new era of the Metafy TCG. You want to learn how to play Gardevoir? Go buy Henry Chow's coaching. Don't know a good Zoroark list? Go copy Liam Halliburn's list. Now, there is unfortunately a paywall to some of this information, but my first baseline for learning a new deck is usually watching it at a regionals or watching, like, I don't know, Azul play it on stream. But money is one of your tools available to you. It also exists in another acronym of time, effort, anxiety, money, aka TEAM, where this acronym is dealing with the ways of solving a problem essentially. If you don't want to spend more money, then you need to spend more time, effort, and anxiety in order to solve that problem. That's for another video, but a lot of our tools need to pass by the TEAM acronym before we can use them. Because to get good at regionals, the best way to improve is to go to a lot of them. But time, effort, anxiety, money. Can you go to a lot of regionals? I'm personally pretty kneecapped still and can literally only do one regional a year. Hard to get good at playing in regionals if you can't go to many regionals, you know? Also a video for another time. But yeah, tools just refers to all resources you have at your disposal that can aid you in improving. The more you have, the more avenues you can take towards improving. So let's move on. Training. Oh, how people mess up with training. I also mess it up. It's not easy. Quick question for you. Do you ever have something on in the background when playing, like a TV show or a YouTube video or even a TikTok? Do you always prize check while playing? Always stay locked in for all of your games? Are you taking every game seriously? There is some nuance here, but if you couldn't pick up the subtext of what I was putting down, when you play the TCG in an unserious manner, you start developing bad habits. If for 90% of your games you don't take them seriously, what makes it so that the remaining 10% will be taken seriously? As Vince Lombardi said, practice does not make perfect, only perfect practice makes perfect. If the way you practice is unserious, then the way you will play will also be unserious. The nuance here is that you can't always be in high performance mode. Sometimes you do need to chill out, but if you're mostly playing unseriously, then taking more games seriously will help you out more. The other aspect of training is the quality of training. This is where the pillars start to bleed into each other, but if you don't have like a training regimen or you don't know how to make a serious training regimen, then you need to try and find the tools needed to do that and find time during the week to dedicate towards it. Again, that's another video. Okay, well, the most basic training regimen you can do for the TCG is record 2 games, VOD review one of them, reviewing the one that was a closer game of the 2. If you have 2 non-games, review both just to make sure there's nothing different that you could have done. This should take you around 45 minutes to an hour, and just start taking notes about your games and what you could have done differently, and try to discern what might have been the better play. A lot more to get into with this topic, but if you're more interested, consider becoming a student of mine or joining the Discord and asking me directly, or in the comments of this video. You do you. Training is another big category that getting a coach can help with. Not always, I guess, but because not all coaches are going to focus on the aspect of training, not even a derogatory sense, literally just in a different coaches focus on different things sense. Some will just tell you what the best deck in the format is and how to play it, which is valuable information. But personally, most of my coaching is related more to stuff like this video. How do you set goals? How should you set up your training? How are you preparing for a tournament, etc., on top of generic VOD reviews, because I can't tell you what you need to improve on if I don't see how you're playing. Either way, go check out my Medify. I'll finish my promotion here. Let's move on. Finally, talent. Oh, talent. Did you know you can develop talent? That's a bit of a minefield topic, and I need to go full on video essay mode for that because you start getting into what is the nature of talent and the nurture versus nature argument and etc. But to be fair, this is the category you can actively improve the least, or not at all if you believe talent is purely innate. Regardless, how talented you are doesn't stop you from improving your other three pillars. One of the things I see people do all the time in relation to talent is compare themselves to others. You shouldn't be comparing yourselves to others. The whole purpose of my last video is to move your values from extrinsic motivators, aka external ones, to intrinsic internal ones. You should want to improve in spite of the level of those around you. Their level of talent is irrelevant to your improvement, because ultimately improvement is the goal, and the level of skill of those around you shouldn't factor into your own desire to improve. This goes even further into not caring about your tournament results, or even your ladder ranking, or win-loss ratio. Sometimes when improving, you are going to be playing worse. But that's also a topic for another time, and also, there's a bigger conversation to have here about how to use that information, such as your win-loss or your ladder ranking, as touchstones to see where you're at in your improvement. But that's all they should be. Touchstones to see if what you're currently doing is working or not, or if something needs to be shaken up. Talent does create an imbalance, but that imbalance can be overcome, especially because the TCG is very much mental over physical. You aren't going to be getting wrecked by the guy who's 6'10" in basketball because you're just getting wrecked by the player who has a better memory than you. Okay, alright. I think that's it for explaining TTTT. If it wasn't obvious from the million, I'll cover this in another videos. A lot of coaching topics like this go deeper, and I've already spent way too much time making this video, so you're going to have to wait. But what do you do with this information? Not much currently. I have given some actionable things from this, but it's very shallow. We've simply skimmed the surface, which was primarily what I wanted to do. The other part was to address the statement of why am I not good yet after having played for X amount of time. The short answer, it's hard to get good. There's so much stuff that goes into it. Simply playing for a long time is not enough. If you're one of the people who has been saying this for a while, you need to evaluate what you're doing and see if it's efficient and effective. If what you've been doing for 2 years isn't working, it's time to get back to the drawing board and see what you can do. But you might also be okay with your current state of progress. The conversation that ultimately evolves from this subject is, how good do you really want to get? It's not that easy being an NBA athlete. I won't get too melodramatic though. Pokemon at the end of the day doesn't risk physical injury, so it's much easier to enjoy for a long period and more enjoyable to push yourself to be competitive. This is why so many people are addicted to League of Legends, among other reasons. But if you want to push yourself to the next level, you do need to push yourself. It's hard to understand what that truly means until you've taken that dive into the deep end, but it's not nothing. Some of you might already be pushing yourself to try and reach that next level, but just aren't seeing the results for it. And this video is mainly for you. You need to revisit what you're doing and what information you're working off of. If you are one of these people, do my 30-minute consultation on Medify. When booking it, let me know that that is what you want, because usually the consultation is just explaining how I focus more on setting goals for you and helping you improve your skills. But if you already know this, then I can just throw you right into the deep end. Alright, okay. I think that's it for this video. I'll move on to the usual outro noises now. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you're interested in coaching after this video, links in the description. If you're interested in asking me questions, you get the comments or my Discord, which is also in the description. Okay, bye!